Bienvenidos al canal de YouTube de Ediciones Radio. Aquí encontrarás vídeos especializados en cada tema. Si te gusta nuestro contenido, no olvides suscribirte, darle a me gusta y comentar tu experiencia. Gracias por elegirnos en tu camino hacia el éxito.
Recuerda que todos nuestros temarios también están disponibles en formato digital y papel. Para cualquier duda puedes escribirnos a info@edicionesradio.com. Cuerpo de Maestros. Inglés. Volumen 2.
Main ideas. Introduction. Throughout this topic, we are going to explain how songs contribute to the teaching of a foreign language in primary education. In addition, we will point out the types of songs and what techniques are the most recommended. Without a doubt, songs are one of the most interesting and motivating resources for students, besides being an important element for cultural transmission. In addition, the songs allow us to work on all linguistic skills, listening, speaking, reading, and writing in an integrated way. In the Crown Decree 157/2022, which establishes the organization and minimum teachings of primary education, Annex 2, Foreign Language, language skills are reflected in specific competences. These specific competences refer to the performance that students must be able to display in activities or in situations whose execution requires the basic knowledge of the area, including linguistic skills. We can highlight 6 specific competences, all of them connected to their respective descriptors of exit profile. Specific competence 6 is closely related to this topic. 6. To appreciate and respect linguistic, cultural, and artistic diversity. In addition, it is essential to mention that the songs are a very useful didactic tool to address the differences in the way each student accesses learning, synthesizes key ideas, and expresses what has been learned. That is why we recommend to follow the Universal Design for Learning (UDL) principles, which refer to the possibility that students acquire knowledge and skills through different ways. The principles of the UDL are included in the Organic Law 3/2020 (BO) of the 29th of December 2020, henceforth LOMLOE, amending the Organic Law of Education 2006. In its Article 5 General Principles Section 4, the following is mentioned: the organizational, methodological, and curricular measures adopted for this purpose will be governed by the principles of Universal Design for Learning. 1. Songs as poetry and literary creation in the English language classroom. To begin with this section, it might be interesting to have a look at the definitions of literature, poetry, and song, to go over to explain their usage in the English language classroom. The term literature has generally come to identify a collection of texts or works which in Western culture are mainly prose, both fiction and non-fiction, drama and poetry. In much if not all of the world, text can be oral as well and include such genres as epic, legend, myth, ballad, other forms of oral poetry, and the folktale. Poetry is a form of art in which language is used for its aesthetic qualities in addition, or instead of its evident meaning. Poetry has a long history and includes features like rhetoric, drama, song, and comedy, repetition and rhyme, and the emphasis on aesthetics distinguishes poetry from prose. Poetry often uses condensed forms and conventions to reinforce or expand the meaning of the underlying words or to invoke emotional or sensual experiences in the reader, as well as using devices such as assonance, alliteration, and rhythm to achieve musical or incantatory effects. Poetry's use of ambiguity, symbolism, irony, and other stylistic elements of poetic diction often leaves a poem open to multiple interpretations. A song is a relatively short musical composition for the human voice, commonly accompanied by other musical instruments, which features words, lyrics. It is typically for a solo singer, though there may also be a duet, trio, or for more voices. Works with more than one voice to a part, however, are considered choral. The words of songs are typically of a poetic, rhyming nature, although they may be religious verses or free prose. Songs can be broadly divided into many different forms, depending on the criteria used. One division is between art songs, popular music songs, and folk songs. Other common methods of classification are by purpose, sacred versus secular equals profano, by style, dance, ballad, lieder, etc., or by time of origin, Renaissance, contemporary, etc. Music is a strong resource which helps create positive feelings about English. While songs serve as useful teaching tools for EFL students, they also contribute to helping create a positive and warm atmosphere in the English learning environment. The value of songs for motivating students to learn English and enhancing learner involvement is widely acknowledged. Teachers and students alike find singing songs entertaining and relaxing. Songs offer a change from the routine procedures in the classroom. They are invaluable tools to develop students' language abilities in listening, speaking, reading, and writing, and can be used to teach a variety of language items such as sentence patterns, vocabulary, pronunciation, rhythms, adjectives, adverbs, and so on. Learning English through songs also provides a non-threatening atmosphere for students who usually have great tension when speaking English in a formal classroom setting. Although the communicative approach has become the mainstream in language teaching, learners are still very passive recipients of knowledge and play only a minimal role in the selection of learning materials and teaching methodology. Such under-involvement constitutes an impediment to successful language learning. In order to improve learner dedication, learners should take part in developing materials for themselves. There are also advantages in involving learners in materials development through modifying existing materials. This not only increases learner commitment, but also makes learners become experts in the tasks they designed. There are many activities related to songs that offer a great deal of advantages in promoting the learning of English, the greatest one being to stimulate students' interest and improve involvement. Students' reactions usually are that they show great interest in learning English through songs, particularly those chosen by them. They usually are very enthusiastic in designing exercises for their peers. In the joint development of learning tasks, teachers become like the students' friends in the provision of feedback and input in the revision of materials. The interaction among students is also increased as they work together to do the problem-solving tasks and design learning materials. Song activities, according to Suk-Mei Lo, should integrate the teaching of the four skills nicely. In each activity, students should be required to listen very carefully to the songs in order to complete the task set for them, whether it is to fill in gaps or answer comprehension questions. In reading the song, they need to pay specific attention to a particular language aspect, according to the demand of the task. Students have to comprehend the song very well before they can do a matching exercise like in the split song technique. Pupils have to restore jumbled sentences to get the original form of the song. When using song reading techniques, students' comprehension has to go beyond the literal level to symbolic meaning to find the hidden message carried by the song, stages 5 and 6. The group work that accompanies these techniques naturally engages students in a great amount of conversation. Finally, each song should provide a meaningful context for writing, for students to stimulate their imagination and practice their writing skills through creative writing tasks at the end, stages 5 and 6. The combination of materials development with the uses of songs can definitely enhance learner involvement. The Common European Framework of Reference, the CEFR, published by the Council of Europe, recommends methodological approaches for different levels of foreign languages teaching in order to develop phonetic and socio-cultural aspects through the performance of tasks or activities. 2. Typology of songs. As mentioned before, one division to classify songs can be done between art songs, popular music songs, and folk songs. Other common methods of classification are by purpose, sacred versus secular, by style, dance, ballad, lieder, etc., or by time of origin, Renaissance, contemporary, etc. We are going to concentrate on those kinds of songs that are most important for English language teaching. Art songs are songs created for performance, usually with piano accompaniment, although they can also have other types of accompaniment such as an orchestra or string quartet. Generally, they have an identified authors and require voice training for acceptable performances. The lyrics are often written by a lyricist, and the music separately by a composer. Art songs may be more formally complicated than popular or folk songs. Popular songs are songs which may be considered in between art songs and folk songs. They are usually accompanied in performance and recording by a band. They are not anonymous in origin and have known authors. Popular songs are often a part of individual and cultural identity. Performers usually have not undergone formal voice training, but highly stylized vocal techniques are used. Many people consider songs in popular music to have in general simpler structures than art songs. Popular songs almost always have a well-defined structure. The song is constructed using 3 to 5 individually distinct musical sections, which are then put together to form the complete song. A structural analysis of a typical pop song is in this order: Introduction, verse, chorus, verse, chorus, instrumental bridge, repetition of chorus to fade. The above pop song structure is an extremely common way of building a modern pop song, including heavy metal, hip-hop, rock songs, and all other genres of pop songs. Some songs have an extremely musically simple structure with only a single section which is repeated with slight modifications in order to sustain the listener's interest in the song. Pop songs also have rhyming schemes which are commonly used by lyricists. Folk songs are songs of often anonymous origin that are transmitted orally. They are frequently a major aspect of national or cultural identity. Art songs often approach the status of folk songs when people forget who the author was. Folk songs are also frequently transmitted non-orally, especially in the modern era. A lullaby or cradle song is a song sung to children before they go to sleep. The idea is that the song sung by a familiar voice will lull the child to sleep. These songs can be used with younger children in the EFL classroom. One of the most famous lullabies, Rock-a-Bye Baby, is hardly calming. Although it starts mildly, it quickly turns to disaster. Rock-a-bye baby on the treetop. When the wind blows, the cradle will rock. When the bough breaks, the cradle will fall. And down will come baby, cradle and all. The author of this lullaby isn't certainly known. Another famous lullaby, generally known as Hush Little Baby, makes many promises to the child if it will only be quiet and go to sleep. Hush little baby, don't say a word. Mama's going to buy you a mockingbird. And goes on to promise a looking glass, a horse and coach, and other treasures. Jazz chants. In late 1960, Carolyn Graham was an ESL teacher at the American Language Institute of New York University and a ragtime jazz entertainer at a piano bar. Her instinct as a teacher and a musician led her to listen more carefully to the language around her and to focus more on the underlying beat. She began to notice rhythmic language in all sorts of contexts: ordering food in a restaurant, saying goodbye on the street, arranging a date over the phone, and making apologies in a crowded bar. Soon Graham began to write chants based on spoken American English and to use them in her classes. Throughout the 80s and 90s, Graham's jazz chants spread far and wide, along with the ESL teaching methods and techniques. Today, jazz chants can be heard in a lot of ESL and EFL classrooms around the world. Here are some of the characteristics of jazz chants. Jazz chants stimulate and appeal to multiple senses of learning. Students speak, sing, tap, and move while chanting. Thus, jazz chants coupled with music and songs offer students an enjoyable way to learn English. Children can also perform their chants, songs, and poems at a children's concert. The rhythmic presentation of the natural language is the key to success for jazz chants. The strong beat and the meaningful lines make the chant stick in one's mind. The effect doubles and triples when music, movement, and role play are added. Jazz chants are meaningful and communicative. Chanting resembles pattern drills in some ways because it is based on a combination of repetition and learner response. However, it avoids the pitfalls of mechanical drills because it is meaning-based and communication-based, and more important, its language use is often authentic. Jazz chants are interactive. Although jazz chants lessons involve a great deal of repetition, the repetition is always in response to other students or the teacher, and always ends with activities such as role play. With jazz chants, language learning is no longer a painful and boring repetition and memorization process, but a natural and interactive process. Finally, jazz chants reduce anxiety and motivate learners. The use of music relaxes many students, and the opportunity to practice common phrases with an authentic model helps students feel more comfortable using those phrases in conversation. Students also respond more positively to lessons made enjoyable by activities that involve music. Sample of a jazz chant by Graham. Boxes of books from Grammar Chants. Boxes of books and boxes of books. Big books, small books. Old books, new books. Books on the bookshelf. Books on the floor. Books on the table. Next to the door. Books in the kitchen. Books in the hall. Books in the bedroom. Big and small. This chant provides an opportunity to practice the sounds of box and book. It also focuses on plural noun forms, several prepositions, on, in, next to, adjectives, big, small, old and new, and location expressions. Teachers can use this chant to practice both listening and speaking skills. 3. Techniques for using songs to learn phonetics, vocabulary, and culture. The techniques we are going to describe will deal with the following contents: phonetics, vocabulary, and culture. 3.1. Phonetics. Songs provide examples of authentic, memorable, and rhythmic language. They can be motivating for students keen to repeatedly listen to and imitate their musical heroes. Songs can be used, for example, to focus on sounds. As languages differ in their range of sounds, students have to learn to physically produce certain sounds previously unknown to them. However, incorrectly pronounced sounds may impede communication, sometimes even changing a phrase's meaning. Songs are authentic and easily accessible examples of spoken English. The rhymes in songs provide listeners with repetition of similar sounds. Phonetics is clearly reflected in our current curriculum. For example, in Annex 2 Foreign Language of Crown Decree 157 2022 of March 1, the basic knowledge divided into 3 blocks refers to it. A. Communication. Initiation in sound patterns and elemental accents. B. Multilingualism. C. Interculturality. To focus learners on particular sounds, we may create activities based on songs' rhymes. These are some examples. Sample Task 1. We replace some of the rhymes in the song with a gap. Students listen and fill the gaps, using the song to guide them. More advanced students can then categorize the words according to sounds. From An Englishman in New York by Sting. Sample Task 2. Alternatively, we can use minimal pairs to highlight differences between sounds, using the lyrics to show how changing one sound can alter meaning. We choose 6 words from a song from which minimal pairs can be created. Heaven, even. Hunger, anger. Man, mad. From Imagine by John Lennon. We write the pairs separately on cards and give out 1 set per group of 4 or 5 students. The students then match the pairs. They then listen to the song and choose the correct one. Finally, choices are then checked with the lyrics. 3.2. Vocabulary. In recent years, second language researchers have concerned themselves with the acquisition of vocabulary and have distinguished between vocabulary that is acquired incidentally and vocabulary that is acquired intentionally. Songs can be used to acquire vocabulary intentionally without students being aware of it. To work on the semantic fields of actions, animals, and clothes, we are going to present 3 songs that are very popular with young students and can help them learn basic vocabulary while having fun. The first song, The Mulberry Bush, teaches basic daily actions such as brushing teeth. The second song is the classic, Old MacDonald Had a Farm, and teaches animal names and sounds. The last one, What Are You Wearing, is about clothes. The Mulberry Bush. Verse 1. Here we go round the mulberry bush, the mulberry bush, the mulberry bush. Here we go round the mulberry bush, so early in the morning. Verse 2. This is the way we brush our teeth. Verse 3. This is the way we eat our food. Verse 4. This is the way we put on our clothes. Verse 5. This is the way we comb our hair. Verse 6. This is the way we write our names, etc. Old MacDonald had a farm. Verse 1. Old MacDonald had a farm, E-I-E-I-O. And on his farm he had a cow, E-I-E-I-O. With a moo here and a moo there. Here a moo, there a moo, everywhere a moo. Old MacDonald had a farm, E-I-E-I-O. Verse 2. Dog wow wow. Verse 3. Cat meow meow. Verse 4. Duck quack quack. Verse 5. Pig oink oink, etc. What are you wearing? Verse 1. Catherine's wearing a blue blouse, blue blouse, blue blouse. Catherine's wearing a blue blouse all day long. Verse 2. John's wearing some blue jeans, blue jeans, blue jeans. John's wearing some blue jeans all day long. Continue the song by having each child sing about what he is wearing that day. Musical chairs can also be used to practice and review vocabulary. Line up the chairs and place a flashcard on each one. Play some music and have the students walk, skip, jump around the chairs. When the music stops, the students should sit down on a chair and shout out their flashcards. For more excitement, remove a chair while the music is playing and make the chairless student sits out until the next round. 3.3. Culture. There are songs for many British and American festivities. This means that songs are an important element for cultural transmission. The LOMLOE, in its preamble, also underlines the importance of cultural learning. Education for sustainable development and global citizenship includes education for peace and human rights, international understanding, and intercultural education. Regarding the curricular references on culture, we must point out that the recently passed Crown Decree 157/2022 of March 1st, which establishes the organization and minimum teachings of primary education, Article 7, Objective D, mentions that students should know, understand, and respect different cultures and differences between people, equal rights, and non-discrimination. We are going to present some examples of traditional songs. Example 1, Guy Fawkes Day. The story behind this day. About 400 years ago, in 1605, a man named Guy Fawkes tried to blow up a government building, the Houses of Parliament. He was hoping to kill King James I and all the king's leaders. Guy Fawkes was one of a group of men who felt that the government was treating Roman Catholics unfairly. On the 5th of November, the king and his leaders were about to meet. So, Guy Fawkes' men placed barrels of gunpowder in one of the cellars beneath the building where the king was having his meeting. Guy Fawkes was to light the fuse that would set off the explosion. But the plot was discovered before he had a chance to do this. The king was saved and Guy Fawkes was hanged. Please to remember the 5th of November. Gunpowder, treason, and plot. And I see no reason why gunpowder, treason should ever be forgot. A penny for the guy. A penny for the guy. In Britain, the week before November 5th, the merry shouts of children asking for money echo up and down the streets. And with them they have the guy, a straw dummy dressed in old clothes. Many of the children are wearing costumes and masks. Example 2, Shrove Tuesday, Pancake Day. Shrove Tuesday is traditionally a day for some merrymaking, a last laughter before the long fast. It is best remembered today with making pancakes. For most people it is just Pancake Day and nothing more, but the custom arose through the need to use up food items which were forbidden during Lent. Pancakes were, and still are believed to be of good luck in many areas of the world, as they contain many herbs and food items associated with prosperity and longevity. Made from batter and fried in fat, the ingredients symbolize 4 crucial points of significance at this time of year. Eggs, creation. Flour, the staff of life. Salt, wholesomeness. Milk, purity. In many districts of England, the rhymes chanted on these occasions have been preserved, and most of them refer to food. 2 from Wiltshire. A shroven, a shroven. I become a shroven. A piece of bread, a piece of cheese. A bit of your fat back on. Or a dish of doughnuts. All of your own makin'. A shroven, a shroven. Nice meat in a pie. My mouth is very dry. The relation between this topic and the curriculum can be found, on the one hand, as far as motivation is concerned, and on the other, as far as the ludic aspect of teaching a foreign language is concerned. It can also be underlined that this topic is strongly related to interdisciplinarity, and thus mainly to these key competences: linguistic competence, personal, social, and learning, to learn competence, and cultural awareness and expression competence, which are reflected in Crown Decree 157/2022 of March 1st, which establishes the organization and minimum teachings of primary education, Article 9. Artistic education is another area in the primary curriculum, and it may be necessary now and then to ask the music teacher for help when trying to apply a special song. It should also be possible to study the interpretation of a song in music lessons once the students have understood the meaning of the song. 1. Songs as poetry and literary creation in the English language classroom. Music is a strong resource which helps create positive feelings about English. While songs serve as useful teaching tools for EFL students, they also contribute to helping create a positive and warm atmosphere in the English learning environment. The value of songs for motivating students to learn English and enhancing learner involvement is widely acknowledged. Teachers and students alike find singing songs entertaining and relaxing. Songs offer a change from the routine procedures in the classroom. They are invaluable tools to develop students' language abilities in listening, speaking, reading, and writing, and can be used to teach a variety of language items such as sentence patterns, vocabulary, pronunciation, rhythms, adjectives, adverbs, and so on. Learning English through songs also provides a non-threatening atmosphere for students who usually have great tension when speaking English in a formal classroom setting. There are many activities related to songs that offer a great deal of advantages in promoting the learning of English, the greatest one being to stimulate students' interest and improve involvement. Students' reactions usually are that they show great interest in learning English through songs, particularly those chosen by them. They usually are very enthusiastic in designing exercises for their peers. In the joint development of learning tasks, teachers become like the students' friends in the provision of feedback and input in the revision of materials. The interaction among students is also increased as they work together to do the problem-solving tasks and design learning materials. 2. Typology of songs. To classify songs, one division can be done between art songs, popular music songs, and folk songs. Other common methods of classification are by purpose, sacred versus secular, by style, dance, ballad, lieder, etc., or by time of origin, Renaissance, contemporary, etc. We are going to concentrate on those kinds of songs that are most important for English language teaching. Art songs are songs created for performance. Popular songs are songs which may be considered in between art songs and folk songs. They are usually accompanied in performance and recording by a band. Folk songs are songs of often anonymous origin that are transmitted orally. They are frequently a major aspect of national or cultural identity. A lullaby or cradle song is a song sung to children before they go to sleep. The idea is that the song sung by a familiar voice will lull the child to sleep. Jazz chants. Here are some of the characteristics of jazz chants. Jazz chants stimulate and appeal to multiple senses of learning. Students speak, sing, tap, stomp, and move while chanting. The strong beat and the meaningful lines make the chant stick in one's mind. Jazz chants are meaningful and communicative. Jazz chants are interactive. Jazz chants reduce anxiety and motivate learners. 3. Techniques of using songs to learn phonetics, vocabulary, and culture. 3.1. Phonetics. Songs provide examples of authentic, memorable, and rhythmic language. They can be motivating for students keen to repeatedly listen to and imitate their musical heroes. Songs can be used, for example, to focus on sounds. 3.2. Vocabulary. In recent years, second language researchers have concerned themselves with the acquisition of vocabulary and have distinguished between vocabulary that is acquired incidentally and vocabulary that is acquired intentionally. Songs can be used to acquire vocabulary intentionally, without students being aware of it. Actions, animals, and clothes. There are 3 songs that are very popular with young students and can help them learn basic vocabulary while having fun. The first song, The Mulberry Bush, teaches basic daily actions such as brushing teeth. The second song is the classic, Old MacDonald Had a Farm, and teaches animal names and sounds. Finally, What Are You Wearing is about clothes. 3.3. Culture. There are songs for many British and American festivities. We are going to present some examples. Example 1, Guy Fawkes Day. Example 2, Shrove Tuesday, Pancake Day.